Democratic legislative leaders throw us out of the room when we try to see the investigation of a rep accused of sexual misconduct. Denver's mayor apologizes after facing his own sexual harassment allegations. Tonight, we find out how the city responds. Students decide not to join the walkouts for gun control. They find a different focus for their energy and emotion. A college baseball coach says he doesn't want players from Colorado, says they can't pass a drug test. And a toddler who is more Colorado than most of us adults. Look at him go. Next. Democratic State Representative Steve Lebsock could get kicked out of the House by the end of the week. Overriding the will of voters is serious stuff, and there are legislators in both parties that think that the public does not have enough information about this sexual harassment investigation. Today, our Brandon Ritteman literally went in there to get it for you.
The whole case against Lebsock is based on a report from an outside investigators. The accusers and Lebsock all got a copy of the report, but the lawmakers voting on whether to kick him out, they weren't allowed to have a copy. They only got to look at one with a lot of blacked out sections and take notes, not pictures or copies.
I'm following legal advice, so thank you.
So are we, and we were just told if they're discussing, then we have the right to be there present for their discussion.
We and a crew from KCNC tried to get into the room using Colorado's Sunshine Law, which says meetings between 2 or more lawmakers have to be open to the public. When the lawyers said that was enough to get us in, Democratic Majority Leader Casey Becker decided only one lawmaker would be allowed to look at the report at a time.
I can do that, so thanks for the
put it in multiple.
Behind her office door, we watched her rip a copy out of the hands of Republican Stephen Humphrey and tell him,
"Get out, you can go in my office and look at it there. Out." Not cool, because I'm not being a to you, and you're being a to me. Get out.
Humphrey had agreed to let reporters join him in the room to see the report.
You know, I think that's unfortunate. I think that the media is an important part of this. They need to have access to this information.
We did end up getting part of the report with a lot of information blacked out. Republican Minority Leader Patrick Neville hinted the vote may end up failing if members don't get to see more of that report and ask questions to the investigator behind it.
Without having those questions answered, I can't go to the extreme measure of expelling a member who I didn't elect. His voters did. I mean, that's a pretty significant thing to do.
Becker later told us the investigator will answer questions during an open meeting tomorrow. She says she kicked us out of the room on the advice of her lawyers. But also, she said, she wants to get more information opened up before the vote.
With a lot of black lines, it makes it really hard to read.
Some lawmakers, especially Republicans, want a completely unredacted version of that report, but Becker says she still sees the need to protect the identities of the 2 accusers who have yet to come forward publicly with their stories. As for that little tiff that you heard there, it seems like water under the bridge at this point. Becker apologized for the crude language. Humphreys told us that he's got no issues with her at this time. Tomorrow, though, has got the potential to be a very interesting day. Could look a lot like a trial. We're expecting not only that investigator to go up, but other witnesses, possibly including Lebsock himself. No word as to how long that's going to take.
As this has gotten wilder and wilder and wilder, what are the chances that it stays on schedule and this is all decided by the end of this week?
So as of this point, Republicans are calling on Becker to give them more time. She's running the show. She expressed some openness to that idea and acknowledged that there's been a lot of back and forth over who can know exactly what details at what time. So I would say there is a decent chance of that happening, but as of yet has not been rescheduled, and the vote is expected on Friday morning.
All right, Brandon Ritteman, we'll reconvene tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
All City of Denver employees will now have to go through mandatory sexual harassment training, which is kind of odd because it was only Denver Mayor Michael Hancock who was forced to apologize yesterday in the face of sexual harassment allegations. Now, the city tells us this training was well in the works prior to us all finding out that Denver's mayor had sent sexually suggestive texts to a police officer on a security detail 6 years ago. Jeremy Hohola from our investigative team joins us now. You've been sampling some of the reaction to this news today, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right, Kyle. Friends and foes of the mayor's office have been reacting to this all day today, from the city council to the police union. So far, we have not heard from the actual recipient of the mayor's texting. That is, of course, Leslie Branch Weiss, who was once a detective who served in his security detail when all of this happened about 6 years ago. A big supporter of the mayor, Albus Brooks, took to Facebook to make a statement. He's also the city council president. Part of what he said: I trust that he and his administration are taking the appropriate steps to learn from this lesson so it won't happen again. City Councilor Debbie Ortega said in a statement, I am disappointed to learn about Mayor Hancock's inappropriate text to a member of his security team and appreciate the apology he has issued about this. The union for Denver Police said, while we are aware that this isn't the first time the mayor's name has been associated with a sexual scandal, we consider the allegations against Mayor Michael Hancock very serious. The union added in that statement that they're calling for more people to come forward if they have similar allegations. And of course, the union there referring to the time when Mayor Hancock was surrounded by prostitution allegations during the early stages of his campaign, or towards the end of his campaign, which he strongly denies and has not been proven just yet. We've also learned next month the city's Human Resources Department, which you mentioned, Kyle, plans to roll out city-wide sexual harassment prevention training. It involves 15 minutes of watching the video online, so let's see if it works. Back to you.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. College baseball coach down in Texas is in trouble for saying that he won't recruit kids out of Colorado because they can't pass drug tests. This coach wrote to a player here in our area saying you can thank your liberal politicians. In an email first obtained by DMAC over at 104.3 The Fan, Texas Wesleyan University baseball coach Mike Jeffcoat emailed this player saying, unfortunately, we're not recruiting players from the state of Colorado. In the past, players have had trouble passing our drug test. We have made a decision not to take a chance on student athletes from your state. You can thank your liberal politicians. Best of luck wherever you decide to play. Seriously now. Honestly, I saw this floating around online today, beginning to go viral, and I thought that it was a joke, a forgery. And in fact, some people at Texas Wesleyan University thought the same thing when I called them. But then, in a statement, the university responds. The comments he made are in no way a reflection of Texas Wesleyan University, its values, or its recruiting practices. They continue, this is a personnel matter and is currently under investigation. We do not condone discrimination of any kind. To be continued. Students from across our country have been walking out of school this week in protest of gun violence at schools and in support of gun control. Yet a group of 16-year-olds at a public school in Denver think they have a better approach that might have more of an impact. They shared their...
Okay, so we're going to get started.
So who's all working on the posters?
Teenagers are taking control.
Okay, actually, can you come help them?
Trying to get something done.
But just whatever you think or any kind of words of encouragement.
About the violence that's killing students like them across the country.
He got shot 5 times. Imagine that.
At 16, they have to imagine it.
It's gonna be okay.
And then act to stop it.
We're trying to do positive ways for 17 days. So being positive online and in real life.
17 days for the 17 killed in the most recent school shooting in Florida. 17 days of honoring the victims, of being nice, of reaching out to bullies or those being bullied. The message, there is a better way.
If the students being bullied realize that they're not alone and there are people out there to help them, then I feel like they have more voice and they have more power behind it. They're not a victim. They could rise up and be something more. And then the bullies themselves could realize that this isn't right and I shouldn't do this.
These kids, still kids, are taking control. At least trying to do something, believing they can.
We could all make a difference. It doesn't matter how old you are. Be nice to people because you never know what someone could be going through.
For Next, I'm Anastasia Bolton.
These students attend the Career Education Center in Denver. They say they'll be sharing this message on posters throughout their school, and they'll also be taking it to social media. They're using the hashtags Positive Ways 17 Days and Never Again. You people, you beautiful people. The campaign for the train worked. Our Kim Christensen is going to be one of the new voices of the train out at DIA. Your vote made it happen. Can I just say, I love the fact that all of you at home, 75,000 people who voted, chose to bestow this honor upon a woman who was too humble to seek the nomination or even campaigned for it once she was nominated. Kim joins Alan Roach, the original voice of the train, who DIA was going to kick off of that duty when he intervened to say,
"Hold on, please."
Cannot get enough of that. And voters agreed. Alan Roach will stay as a voice of the train. He and Kim will be the voices that send us off and the voices that welcome us home. February is nearly over, and it got us thinking in the next office, why is this month so short? There is a very particular reason behind it. And we also look at a shocking piece of hidden history uncovered. Next.
Hold on, please. This is Alan Roach, current and future voice of the DIA train. Like all good roaches, I'm not that easy to get rid of. Thank you, Colorado. Next. We'll return in a moment.
Our next question actually came from inside the next office, where we were all wondering, how was it that February ended up 28 days long, shorter than every other month of the year? So we called a physics professor at MSU Denver who knows a thing or two about the calendar. He was telling us way back in 1700 BC, March used to be the first month of the year. December was the 10th, hence the root, DEC, for 10. Professor Grant Den explains how it came to be that February was shortchanged.
And then there was a period of about 60 days where there was nothing. It was just winter, and nobody kept track. When they added the final 2 months of January and February, February got stuck with the remaining days of the year.
Can I tell you how much I love that? It was just winter. Nobody kept track. Calendar's seen a lot of changes over the years. Julius Caesar added the leap year and in return got a month named after him, July. At one point in history, all of the months had 31 or 29 days. That's because it was considered unlucky to have an even number of days in a month.
I'm learning all kinds of new things here on Next. Hey, we are winding down the month of February, and here's how it all shakes out. Kind of cooler than average by a couple of degrees here in Denver. Precipitation 3/10, and that snow at 6.2. Nice to see. And we have a little bit more coming in. A very weak storm system, primarily up in the mountains, but some of those isolated flurries and showers creeping into parts of Weld County and even downtown. Radar picking up on just a few light rain showers here in the city. It won't last long, and it won't add up to much. Tonight, we'll be watching these showers move out and our skies clear, an overnight low of about 20 degrees. The rest of this evening, overnight into tomorrow morning, beautiful. Here comes the sunshine yet again. By the afternoon, a few clouds start racing through the metro area. A little bit of light snowfall around the northern mountains, but that won't last long either. And then we're well on our way to Friday, and wait until you see how toasty it gets. Tomorrow we're at 53. We'll go with partly sunny skies. The winds remain light. 50s along the eastern side of the state, 30s and 40s up in the mountains. And your 7-day, fan of the 60s? Oh, they are coming in hot just in time for the first weekend of March. Then, Kyle, perhaps a little bit of snow because Colorado.
Because Colorado.
Obviously.
Thank you, Danielle. Sending home war memorabilia from the battlefront, that was common practice during World War II. Items that, to our eyes these days, can seem kind of shocking. Today, we met a woman sharing an interesting piece of history that's connected to a family in Colorado.
That's amazing.
This flag dominates any room.
Pull it down a little bit.
Gigi Hickey from Minnesota knows that.
It's very shocking, isn't it, to see
It is.
the swastika.
An evil symbol, branded with the names of 84 heroes.
It says Cannon Company, 358th Infantry, 90th Division.
Those men sent it to the widow of their fallen brother.
This was sent to my mom when her first husband died. We found it in May of 2013.
She's made it her mission to find other families connected to this banner.
Now what's important to you guys over here, your father, grandfather, brother's name?
Julian Pacheco.
His sister, Donna Aguirre.
Still a part of him that's with us.
Surrounded by family, she feels the power woven into this material.
Terrible. It's great, but it's terrible. It gets your memories, just take you back.
Back to southern Colorado.
We grew up in North Levita, out of Walsenburg.
Waiting for her brother to return home from Cannon Company.
When he came home, he was the same as before. He never talked about it.
It's heartwarming to bring it to family.
Gigi is glad to share this piece of history.
And we need to remember the sacrifices that were made.
Donna and her family are willing to endure it.
Well, I'm proud. Me too.
I'm proud of my dad. Thank you for coming today.
I'm glad I came.
For next,
I just can't hardly stand watching it, seeing it.
I'm Mike Grady.
Gigi's working to find a permanent home for that banner, but in the meantime, she's hoping to connect with as many family members of the men who signed it as she can. The search is on for a Good Samaritan who helped one of our older neighbors and then left without a trace. And a rock-climbing toddler from Colorado. You heard what I said.
Hold on, please. There's a new rider on the train today. Welcome, Kim Christensen from 9 News. I so look forward to sharing the train with you. I'm Alan Roach, current and future voice of the DIA trains. Thank you, Colorado. Next, we'll continue in a moment.
Kindness often seems fleeting these days, especially if you watch the TV news. So tonight we highlight an intentional act of kindness. You can argue that this isn't news. Sure, I'd say it's even better.
I'm Kim Terry. I'm from Broomfield, Colorado, and I just wanted to reach out to 9 News to share a story about our mom with you. So Sunday morning, my mom was taking a walk. She happened to fall and slip on ice, and she couldn't get up. And a couple minutes had gone by, and a young couple came by, and a man asked my mom if she needed help up, and she did. He helped her get up, said, "I can't leave you here. Let me just make sure you get home safe." So he actually walked my mom back to the house. He went inside with her, called 911, and by the time Broomfield responders came to the house, he quietly left on his own, so she was never able to get his name or information. Honestly, we were just so grateful that he took the time to come back and to take my mom back to the house, because it could have ended up in an entirely different situation. She really was in so much shock, I don't think she would have been able to make it back home on her own. They may be complete strangers to us right now, but we have been thinking about them nonstop since Sunday. They've been in our prayers. I think almost every day, whether you're watching CNN, 9 News, 7 News, there are stories that make us sad, make us mad, and I think it's time to share stories that are happy and stories that are an opportunity to spread kindness. I mean, kindness is contagious, and that was our only hope, was just to get the message out there that people are kind in this world, people have compassion for total strangers, and we just really wanted to just spread the love.
He broke her left shoulder in this, but apparently she's going to be fine. And Kim eventually did find the guy who helped out her mom. It was a post on Nextdoor that did it. They're planning on all getting together as soon as Mary feels up to it. The Costco hawk is an internet sensation. More than 50,000 people on Facebook have watched our story from last night about the young hawk that's been hanging out in the Thornton Costco for days. Customers told us the store staff had left the doors open at night to let the hawk out, only to have a pigeon come in and get eaten by the hawk. We can confirm tonight the Costco hawk has escaped. Not the hawk. Ever seen one of those videos where your reaction is, "Oh, shut up, play that again"? One of those videos came to our office today. We'll watch it together next.
Stay clear. The train is about to depart. This is Kim Christensen, the future voice of the DIA train. Hey, you, Kyle Clark, you are delaying the departure of this train. Next, we'll be right back.
Meet Davey. He lives in Bailey. He'll be 19 months old, and he's beginning a promising rock climbing career. Look at the kid go! He's seen his dad do this because he climbs, and he kept trying to, so they built him this little apparatus. Dad spots him just in case. That's wild. Jim Stimson says, "Kyle, lose the tie makes me think you're talking at me instead of to me." I didn't want to, Jim, but I got a coffee stain like right here, so I didn't really have much of a choice. It kind of washed out. See you next time.